All right, I just got to hit record on this. So if this is a little bit raw, we're having a raw discussion on this. This is, what did I just read? All right, first off, to do the quick summary, for subscribers of the channel, you know that I am self-publishing my own comic. I'm the writer, creator of Doomsday Kingdom. Issue 1 and 2 is out, doomsdaykingdom.com. Issue 3, we're releasing soon, announcement coming soon. And in some of my videos about the process of creating Doomsday Kingdom, a lot of people said Indiegogo is on and popping for indie creators and yada, yada, yada. So I dove into that, which led me down this rabbit hole of insanity. Now, there's a lot to explain. Not everyone is insane. Not everyone's an asshole. Not everyone has an agenda. But it led me down this Twitter, Comic Book Pro, SJW versus non-SJW, Comicsgate, insane shit that my brain seized up at one point. Not even exaggerating. Anyhow, we will discuss that in one video because I think some people, oh my God, some of the shit, the hypocrisy it's unreal. Anyway, we're going to discuss that in a different video, but along the way, I ran into this article. Bendis responds to criticism over action characters' derogatory use of autism. Yes, you heard that right. And let me start this off by saying, I'm willing to grow, like as a human being, as a person. My 15-year-old self is very different from how I am today. If you have a different view or a different perspective and you want to share that with me, everything I say in here is not automatically right. I'm not like hard-headed where I'm like, this is how it is. And if you have anything to say against it, that doesn't matter because I'm right and you're wrong. Well, I'm part Sicilian, so no matter what, I'm always right. But anyway, with that being said, I want to throw this out there. You don't have to feel defensive and be like, oh, an attack. If you have a different opinion, different perspective, I'm up for having my mind changed. So definitely share. Don't feel like you can't share because I'm just going to attack you. If you have a different opinion, share. Let's have a discussion. But this article is essentially about a villain being a villain in a comic book villain. It would be different if Superman turned around to some little kid and the kid was autistic in the comic and Superman was like, ew, get away from me, you autistic little shit. I would be enraged too if it was Superman who did it. You know what I'm saying? But this, and maybe you guys need to put me in check. Maybe this Action Comics is for little kids. I might have to rethink this because if it is for little kids, tiny little kids, I don't read Action Comics, so I'm not sure, but maybe I kind of understand their point. But then again, what do you want the villain to do? How do you want the villain to act if he can't be a villain? Because you don't think writers and creators and artists in DC, especially on this project, are going to start thinking from now on? You don't think this is going to bleed into their work and their villains are going to be, bland and dull because they can't actually be villains because, oh no, God forbid we upset anyone else. Think about this. This isn't just about you. This isn't just about you and you being offended because you have autism in your family somewhere. I think a lot of us do. I do myself, so you can't use that card. You have no connection to it whatsoever, and I'm not going to parade my family out in front of you just to prove a point. So before you get your panties in a bunch and go down there and throw that card at me, trust me, don't. It's not going to get you anywhere. Anyhow, when it comes to villains in comic books and storytelling, part of the big problem, and we're going to read what they say, but part of the big problem is, where do you draw the line? Where do you draw the line? You can't have anyone use the word ugly now. There's ugly people in the world. They're going to be offended. They're going to be hurt by this. There's ugly kids. There's ugly adults. You're looking at one. So you can't. When you do shit like this medium, this escapism, and I respect the company's decision to say, okay, maybe that didn't fit us and our brand and we're going to pull it. As a consumer, that's going to make me and people like me turn the other way because you're interfering with the storytelling. I want the writer's vision. I don't want the complaining audience's vision to manipulate what we're getting in the writer's room. That's not what I want. It's not at all what I want. I'll put my money with someone else who is not afraid to share whatever they want to do. Guess what? In the real world, people use autistic as a derogatory term. You're not going to change the world, homie, And if a villain's going to do it, it's a villain. What is he not? What can't villains do now? Robert Kirkman has Michonne getting raped in The Walking Dead. So when they reprint the compendium, I don't want that in the comic because there's rape victims out there. We don't want them to get triggered by reading that. We have Sopranos. When HBO puts out the new box set of the complete series, which they need to now, because I know a girl in real life who her father was in real life whacked by the mob in New York. You can't have her watch that show and get triggered and upset and oh my God, because that, she's dealing with that in real life. So you can't have gangsters now. Trim all that out of Sopranos. Sons of Anarchy. Trim all the offensive shit. Wow, that's going to be a lot of trimming. Trim it all out. I mean, anything, everywhere. Trim it out. Get rid of it because people are going to be offended. And I know I'm being a bit ridiculous, but if you think about it, where do you draw the line? Because just because this person only is, and they might have some serious opinions to back this up, but just because they're only pointing at this one aspect, this isn't it. We've been seeing this for months and months and a few years now. This offended culture, this artificial virtue signaling culture of bullshit that enough gets to be enough already. And especially when it comes to entertainment. Out in the real world, there's a difference between shit that goes on in the real world and entertainment. Like I have villains some villain I'm really proud of as far as creating this villain and developing this villain. He's, even in the first issue, you hear of he's a vile fucker. So now I'm supposed to be paranoid and worried about how vile he is. Well, I can't make him too vile. I promised readers in issue 1, like, this guy's vile. You know what I mean? We even follow a serial killer for a while there. Things get pretty disturbing. But now, what do we do? Do we not, push the envelope a little? Anyway, let's read into this. It says, writer Brian Michael Bendis has come under fire for his derogatory use of the word autistic as spoken by a villain in Action Comics 1002. Readers and comic journalists, some of whom have or work with autistic children, took to Twitter to criticize Bendis, DC Comics and its editorials staff for the usage of the term. Bendis has since apologized and explained why he used the term, which was uttered by a villain and not Superman himself. The writer tweeted, "Yeah, it is an insult I can't stand. It has been said to me directly, and I put it in my work to illustrate its ugliness from an ugly character who got his immediate comeuppance." Yeah, exactly. You have ugly characters, and you want them to be ugly, so you have them do this ugly shit. American History X, I remember growing up with that movie. When whoever owns that, whenever you guys put the new 4K restoration out, edit all the racist shit out of that movie because, offensive. All right, so John Ferguson, I don't know who this guy is, but he says, it's the go-to insult of the online gaming community. Wow, he throws the online gaming community right under the bus. First off, this guy, you don't know what you're talking about. Is it in the online gaming community? Hell yes. He also says, and school-aged kids. But I think one thing you're really overlooking is autism, weaponized autism, shit like this that is said in the online community is the online community. You just took one little sliver. I bet if I look you up, you have something against the online gaming community because you threw them under the bus where they use it. I'll agree with you 100%, but it runs rampant in the online community as a whole. You just took that one little sliver out. So if you want to do reality justice, edit that shit because it's not just a online gaming community. It's the online community as a whole, and it's usually younger, and there's a lot, and I'm going to come to the defense, kind of, not really, but there's a part of the online community that takes nothing serious. And a lot has to do with them being younger. When I was younger, I didn't give a shit about your feelings. I didn't have a life. I didn't have kids. I didn't have people I cared about or things I worried about. It was all a big joke. Shock value, I loved it. I used to get a lot of laughs. I used to be class clown, all this shit. Now, when I was doing it, I wasn't trying to hurt people, so I think that's the difference between how I found fun and shock humor. My brain would automatically go to the one thing you would never think of hearing about, and it usually got a lot of laughs. Now, there's some people on the internet, a deeper or more to the other extreme. There's people out there who are looking to push buttons with shock humor and things. So by you and everyone else complaining about this, you just gave autism as a derogatory word a 10-year extension on its lifespan here. Why do you think people are still only a little bit making those Harambe memes and shit? Because they came out and said don't do that. Everyone knows. Everyone who pays attention on the internet knows. If you say don't do this on the internet, they're going to do it 2 times as much, 3 times as much. So if people, and I don't think anyone's even talking about this, but if people even get this out there into certain communities, you just extended its lifespan. So a round of applause for everyone complaining about this. This is just ridiculous. But anyway, he said, very sad. I'm surprised. I'm unsurprised. It's unacceptable from a creative... Wait, did you say you're unsurprised? Okay. Well, if you're not surprised it's in the comic, why are you reading the comic for? Anyway, it's acceptable from a creative... It's unacceptable. I'm reading what I want to read. It's unacceptable from a creative editorial team. You should be ashamed. It's unacceptable that a creative team makes a villain do bad guy shit. That has got to be the most asinine, ridiculous sentence I've read in a long time. But Michael Bendis says, yeah, it is an insult I can't stand. It's been said to me directly, and I put it in my work to illustrate its ugliness from an ugly character. Hey, you can't say ugly anymore. Brian Michael Bendis, you buckled when people said, I have autism in my family. This, I fell on the floor in a spastic, offended seizure shock, and you bent over. Brian Michael Bendis said, ugly. Why? There's ugly people out there who are probably now triggered and heartbroken and crying. I'm acting tough. When I shut this down, I'm going to cry the whole time I edit this because you're using ugly in a derogatory way. Yeah, he's an ugly character who got his maybe I was a little ridiculous there, but still. He got his immediate comeuppance. I do it in my work all the time. Russ, I'm sorry it hurt you. Next time, reach out. You know me. If he knows him, why didn't he just reach out? He reached out to his editors and they fixed it. And he also said, language is tough. When trying to be real, you can be real hurtful. You know it wasn't my intention and you helped me see a way to fix it. Thank you. This guy, I don't know who this is. This is covered up, it seems. It looks like a reply. I'm a big fan, especially of your Superman stuff, so far that I've had a chance to read. You know what that means? Let me decode that for you. They glance at Superman once in a while. They're not really interested in the stories in past years, maybe a decade. But they want to complain because this is the perfect opportunity. But unless you're going to make a specific comment about ableism, the use of the term as an insult is unnecessary and it's considered hurtful by many. Keep in mind, Superman is not calling people autistic. It's a villain doing villain shit, acting like a villain. Villains and bad guys talk like this. They're not nice people. And that's what highlights, and that's what, when I was a kid, when I looked up to people and how they acted in comic books, if you tame the villains, it's going to be hard to notice why are the good guys even fighting them? They're not acting like a villain or not talking like a villain. Anyhow, for anyone who doesn't know, I'm sure pretty much everyone knows, but ableism is pretty much the opposite of disabled. So anyone who's able. Brian Michael Bendis said, I completely hear you. I called my editor and told them to make sure. Wait, I'm sorry. I think I messed that up. Ableism would be I don't know the exact definitions, but it's basically like if you're perfectly able, you're fine. If someone is disabled, then that's not fine, or that's weak or gross or in a negative way. I think that's the more accurate definition. Correct me down in the comments. I think I screwed that up. But anyway, I completely hear you. I called my editor and told them to make sure it's not in any other printings. It won't be in the trade. Language is tough, and that's where he says that quote. The scene in question finds boss Maxi, whatever, chewing out one of his henchmen. When the henchman is unable to confirm Superman's whereabouts, the boss becomes enraged and shouts at him, yelling, "Is Superman in Metropolis or not, you autistic?" Wait a minute. Are they covering a curse word? I take that back. If this is for kids, there should be no cursing in it. So if there's cursing in it, it's not for kids. What do we do? Well, I'm not saying it's probably for kids and teenagers and some adults. I would imagine they don't want to trim their customer base. You know what I'm saying? Leave it open for as many people as possible. But they're covering up a curse word here. So I don't know. Anyhow. For some, the debate continued on Twitter and elsewhere. At least a major critic, though, is satisfied with Bendis' response. And this critic, I did pull up his thing real quick because he got a blue check, and I thought he was like in comic books or something, but he just reviews them for comicbook.com. And don't go attacking anybody, but this guy seems on the level, polite and nice with even though I strongly disagree with this ridiculousness, he handled it well. I mean, he's not up here yelling at people and yada, yada, yada. So I don't mean any hate to this guy, but let's read what he says. Update on this since it's been going. Well, let me read his initial thing. As a parent of a child with autism, got to pull your ghetto card right from the gate. I'm disgusted that a comic I was reading and enjoying as part of my weekly assignments at work uses autistic as a derogatory term meant to insult or demean someone's intelligence. I'm surprised and dismayed the line made it into a book. And again, this is where I would love for others to maybe give me a different perspective on this, because this is about the villain. What am I missing here? It's the villain being a bad guy. Again, and don't give me that shit like, oh no, we just don't want him to say autistic. You know, that's all. What if we get another villain that doesn't like black people? Straight up. What if he has a problem with Asians? Straight up. What if you have villains that, for whatever reason, hate white people? That is a part of the same shit. It's a part of the same structure. You have a villain doing something that, in real life, it's a no. It's insulting, embarrassing, offensive. It's all this other negative shit. It has negative connotations. I'm trying to wrap it up in one big bow. And don't tell me you're only going after this one issue. Don't say, no. It's only because I'm selfish and my life is impacted with, having an autistic child that I care about this one issue. But if someone comes out and a villain's racist, I don't give a fuck. My kid ain't black. I don't care. You can't do that. You either draw the line and say, okay, listen, it's storytellers telling a fake story and yada, yada, yada. Give them some leadway. Maybe this isn't for you. Maybe you do a little essay on it or, I don't know, something. But to have them go and pull it and all this other... I'm going to open this up. Maybe some of you guys can change my mind and opinion on this. My biggest thing is... I want the bullshits, all the bullshits to stay out of entertainment. If somebody wants to sit down and they write a story, it should be up for the customers. If it's offended like a motherfucker, it's up for the customers to say, ill, gross, no thank you. I picked up a comic a while back. People were like, oh, you love zombies and apocalypse stuff? There's this Family Ties, something like that. I don't know what it's called. Crossed, all right? Really bloody and gory, right up your alley. Picked it up. It was about incest and some shit that, not like Game of Thrones, but more like, that is disgusting, and I don't want to read about these characters. It's not for me, I didn't go to the internet and try to shut them down and make them change their ways. No, if there's an audience for that, have at that. But I couldn't connect with the characters. I found some of it to be a bit gross. And some of it, I just felt like it was a little try-hard for the shock value. But that's only for my personal tastes. I don't think anyone should be going out there trying to shut down anyone's... I didn't buy it. The thing I didn't like, I didn't buy it. And that's how I feel the world should simply work. No one should restrict anyone's creative when it comes to storytelling in movies, music, comic books, novels. We shouldn't have people saying... Yep, go ahead and do you, man. Shoot for the moon. If you miss, you hit among the stars. Unless you do something that offends me, then we're going to shut it down, What is this world coming to? Do whatever you want. If I don't like it or it offends me, I'm not going to buy it. You know what I'm saying? Like, shit. Just shit. Anyhow, you guys leave your thoughts and opinions down in that comment box. If you want to change your mind, change my mind, or if you feel like you have a different perspective that might make me see this a little different, like maybe there's something about the comic that it's geared specifically towards a certain age range, like 10 or 15 or 14 or something like that, or something different, holler at me, But please stay away from superficial stuff and no attacking anybody. That's number one on this channel. Don't attack and harass anybody. But stay away from superficial arguments. I'm telling you right now, it's not going to get you anywhere. That's not going to work. All right. Thoughts and opinions down there. I'm done talking. It's your turn.